Hey, what's up? It's KHG back again with some more Warhammer. By request, today we are getting into the Blood Angels. And I'd like to thank everybody for your game suggestions. It seems like Dawn of War and Space Marines won the popular vote. So I'm going to take a look at both of them, and I might be doing some live stream of those in the next couple of days. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay.
G'day guys and girl. Only Warhammer 40k could make every single character in their entire universe seem like the bad guy, yet make us still love them. We've got big scary chocolate men with red eyes, space Mongolians, fairy Vikings, emos, and the topic of today's video, noble vampires, who've dedicated all their resources towards squishing the space bugs of death.
Here we go with some more vampires. And all of these are the good guys.
Don't even get me started on what the bad guys are like. See, the God Emperor of Mankind was a bit of a meme lord, and decided to have a bit of fun when he was making the Space Marines. For the Blood Angels, he thought it would be pretty funny to make it so they had a strong urge to drink blood, as well as the potential for them to become psychotic down the track. Now, it doesn't say if he 100% deliberately made them like this, but for my own headcanon, I can't blame the guy for wanting to have a bit of fun here and there. In this video, we will cover who the Blood Angels are and where they come from, as well as what they did during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. We will also take a deep dive into the life and death of their glorious angelic primarch, Sanguinius. This is part 1 of 2, as the Blood Angels lore is quite rich, and it would be too much of a condensed video if I tried to do their entire thing in just 20 minutes. Before we get into that, however, I have some exciting news. We are upping the stream count, baby. I recently got in contact with a rapidly growing streaming service called DLive, who are going to sponsor the channel. Hell yeah, take that demonetization. DLive is a streaming platform which rewards the viewers and streamers for engagement. It's a win-win. Let's get into it. In the 30th millennium, the Emperor of Mankind got a little bit frisky and decided the galaxy was one big pair of cheeks that just needed to be clapped. Hence, he struck a deal with the local Asian, pervert, American, and autistic dude to gain some power in order to create 20 demigod super soldiers. When it came to paying this merry band of shady characters, the Big E was like, "Oh, sorry, we speak no English." And then he blocked their Instagrams.
I gotta look into who these characters
This
are.
obviously pissed them off, hence they yeeted his little demigod babies across the galaxy. Some of them landed on really shit planets and became assholes. Some of them landed on awesome planets and became cool dudes. Sanguinius, our glorious hawk boy, was different. His planet sucked mega balls. His planet Baal was actually 3, Baal Prime and Baal Secundus. And they used to be paradises, however they nuked the living shit out of each other, as people, generally tend to do, hence all the planets in the Baal system now sucked. Think a mixture of Fallout 4 and Mad Max. There were mutants everywhere and feral animals. Only a tiny population of humans remained who didn't completely suck. Sanguinius lands on Baal Secundus and is discovered by some somewhat okay humans, who consider killing him for being a mutant as he has wings growing from his back, but then like, wait, he's a glorious hawk boy. Hence, they adopted him instead. Now, as far as origin stories go, Sanguinius is quite standard and actually kind of boring. He grows up fast, helps his people, kills bad guys on his planet and becomes their leader. Then the Big E rocks up and is like, yo, and Sanguinius is like, hey dad, let's go crusading together. Good game, easy. Probably one of the more seamless Primarch adoptions by their Big E. Something to note, as Sanguinius grew up, so did his wings. However, despite their size, it should have been technically impossible for them to lift him up and travel the kind of speeds he was traveling. This on top of the fact his bones were very dense, not the hollow kind required like birds have. Hence, from the get-go, Sanguinius was infused with warp spaghetti, something he kind of felt bad about. Sanguinius spent a lot of the Great Crusade by the Emperor's side, him and his Blood Angels acting at his honor guard. Cause if you're the Big E, the angelic Aryan dude by your side looks the coolest. Now, the Blood Angels, before they found Sanguinius, were a bunch of violent degenerates, sent in as a vanguard to basically massacre the enemy, then feast on their flesh. While some legions gained their original Astartes from cool or noble people from Terra, the Blood Angels got theirs from mutants, scum, and bold cunts. To put it simply, they weren't called the Angels originally. As they were mostly the first ones into battle, especially against some unknown powerful enemies, they often suffered pretty severe casualties, as they were constantly engaging in glorious melee combat after literally drop-potting right on top of the enemy's heads. Despite all their deaths, they could rebuild their forces really quickly, as they just grabbed whatever hobos were strung along the crusade and shoved them full of gene seed. Despite this, they were surprisingly less sadistic than the Night Lords, so I guess it kinda worked out for them. Over the years, they were shunned more and more by the Imperium, as they were always splattered in excessive amounts of blood and gore due to their love of chainswords and vampirism. They were descending further and further into darkness, and were very close to being called forth to be—
Hold on, let me stop for a second. He just said they were shunned because their suits were always covered in blood because of the chainsaws, and yeah, I agree. That might be a very stinky comrade. Yes.
exterminated as they slowly lost control. However, this all changed when they found their glorious Hawkboy. After learning about the Imperium under his father, Sanguinius recalled all of the Blood Angels to meet him. Instead of commanding their loyalty through birthright, something that the Blood Angels would not really have been super down with, he instead kneeled and pledged his loyalty to them. Nice work, Sanguinius. Despite this, there was a lot of work to be done. Sanguinius had to turn a pack of berserkers, whose ferocity was only rivaled by the World Eaters, into the Imperium's symbol of nobility and hope. He did this by joining Horus in various campaigns to bolster the Blood Angels' reputation as they fought alongside the much regarded Wet Lunar Wolves. He also forbade anyone from eating flesh and drinking blood, which is a pretty good call by him, I would say. Sanguinius would continue to lead by example, his warriors becoming a disciplined force to be reckoned with, however also never losing their ferocity in combat. For a time, the Blood Angels would dumpster on any enemy they came across, fisting their way across the galaxy and building up their legend. However, like all other legions, they were eventually tested in combat, although they probably should have been tested for a bunch of things with all that blood sucking they were doing, but that's for another video. They came across a star system controlled by a faction of humans that had maintained some pretty impressive armies and technology.
What?
This faction were cocky and immediately attacked any Imperial force sent to try and communicate with them. Hence the Blood Angels came in halt, hitting the first planet of the system hard and fast, full like
Is MajorKill trolling right now? Cause that is a Halo guy. That is a Master Chief kind of dude. I think he's trolling right now.
Jackrabbit hump style. The defenders employed the use of augmented warriors to try and hold back
Oh,
the Blood
yeah,
Angels, and
he's
despite not
trolling
receiving many
big time
casualties,
right
the
now.
Blood Angels were impressed with the bravery and the ferocity of their foe. After some fighting, Sanguinius called a ceasefire to honour the enemy's dead warriors and to hopefully allow the star system to surrender. Good guy Hawkboy. Also, naive Hawkboy, as they replied by sending a literal Trojan horse towards the Blood Angel fleet, which turned out to be a bomb. This killed a bunch of Blood Angels and ruined some of their ships, so in turn Sanguinius said, "Hey guys, so yeah, you know how I've spent years teaching you to be men of nobility, mercy and discipline? Well, that can all just fuck off, we've got some cunts to kill." The Blood Angels then unleashed all of their weapons of war against these rogue humans: nuclear bombs, chemical warfare, gas attacks. Within only one day, the entire system had been completely raped, all the survivors being made into chapter servants or sent off to work in the depths of a forge world. Sanguinius himself kicked down the doors to the throne room and dragged the dumbass king outside to watch his entire kingdom burn. Do not fuck with the Blood Angels. As the Great Crusade began to wind down, Sanguinius and by extension the Blood Angels had become everyone's favourite Primarch and Legion. Some of the other Primarchs got pretty jealous of our glorious Hawkboy because honestly, like, who wouldn't? Just look at him. Damn. After a massive victory was won against the Orcs at Ulanor, Horus was raised to War Master despite most of the Primarchs, including Horus, believing it should have gone to Sanguinius instead. Horus is even quoted as saying, "Sanguinius is way cooler than me, I don't know why I got it instead, Lamau." But you know, the Emperor is super wise clearly, as only a couple years later, Horus went full Italian spastic cunt bold mode and joined the forces of Chaos and open rebellion. He saw that Sanguinius would never abandon their father's cause and betray him, but maybe the Blood Angels would. Horus had become aware of the red thirst and darkness within the Blood Angels, as he once witnessed Sanguinius mercy killing one of his own sons, before Sanguinius explained that he got to sucky for some fucky. He said, "Oi bro, don't tell dad," and Horus was like, "I got you bro." Horus realized that the Blood Angels could be corrupted and given to Khorne if he was able to exploit their inner darkness. Hence, when Sanguinius was ignorant of Horus's betrayal, Horus was like, "Yo Sangi, go to this star system and help the humans there. If you do it, I'll tell you how to cure your sons of their gene flaw." And Sanguinius was like, "Oh hell yeah man, I can see the future but for some reason can't see the trap you just laid down for me and the fact that you're already evil." Yeah. Hence, the Blood Angels travelled to a star system which had been gang-banged by the forces of chaos, and was now a living hell in real space. The Blood Angels were instantly attacked by warp entities and demons upon arrival, but they were like, "Easy bro," and fought against them. The war against chaos was the hardest the Blood Angels had fought to date. Despite this, with a literal angel at their front, the 9th Legion were winning. Until one of the greatest bloodthirsters of Khorne, Ka'Bandha, appeared and dueled Sanguinius. Despite being impaled, Ka'Bandha broke Sanguinius' legs and smashed him to the ground. He then massacred 500 Blood Angels so quickly that the psychic backlash knocked out Sanguinius and inflicted the Black Rage upon every Blood Angel present. With an entire legion of overpowered berserkers, the Blood Angels smashed the demonic armies to smithereens, and Sanguinius was healed by his Liberians. He later confronted Ka'Bandha again during the war and tore off one of his wings and threw him back into the realms of chaos. As he did so, he said, "When you return to hell, tell them that Sanguinius is the one that sent you." Fucking badass. Sanguinius' sons would go on to purge the shit out of the sector and emerge victorious against the forces of chaos. However, our Hawkboy almost fell to chaos here. Heresy, I hear you say, but it is true. Just as Sanguinius was about to win and decapitate the Slaneshi demon who was in command, it offered a solution to the Blood Angel's darkness. If Sanguinius willingly walked into a nasty-ass portal, his soul would be forfeited to the gods of chaos, however his sons would be cured. Which is bullshit. I don't know why Sanguinius even considered this to be a valid option at all. It's likely he would have just been corrupted along with his legion. Sanguinius wasn't really known as the smart primarch. Anyway, before he could decide, one of his sons were like, "Lamau, free drugs," and jumped into the corruption portal instead, getting soul raped and hooked on meth instantly. Poor bloke. Sanguinius was like, "Bugger, he took my drugs." So he killed all the remaining demons and basically razed the entire star system to nothing. He received word from Rogel from Terra, who was like, "Yo bro, all the white neo-Nazi bold cunts are attacking Terra. We need you to come back us up." Hawkboy was like, "Sure, but I'm in fucking whoop whoop mate." Hence, the Blood Angels in their attempt to get to Terra got stuck in a massive warp storm, following a beacon till they eventually arrived in Ultramar to meet up with Gulliman and the Lion. They had no contact with Terra, hence did not know if it had fallen or not. Due to this, Gulliman formed Imperium Secundus and declared Sanguinius as the Emperor, something Hawkboy wasn't really keen on. To make matters worse, Conrad, that little emo cunt, had gotten loose on Macragge and was being a pain in the ass, requiring the serious effort of Sanguinius, the Lion and Gulliman before they finally captured him again. Fortunately, Conrad inadvertently revealed a paradox about his own foreseen death, which basically confirmed that Terra still stood. The three loyal Primarchs felt a bit stupid and awkward about, Imperium Secundus, so they dismantled it and beelined for Terra. Chaos wasn't really in the mood for three massive loyalist forces to arrive and anal fuck their fleet, so they used warp spaghetti, shitloads of demons, and a blockade to try to stop them. But this is Sanguinius, the angel of blood we're talking about. He doesn't give a fuck about some blockade bullshit. Hence, the Blood Angels were able to punch through and reach Terra in time to take part in the siege, alongside the Imperial Fists and White Scars. The siege was pretty rough, as almost the full might of Chaos was taking on only 3 loyalist legions. Angron demanded their surrender, and Sanguinius replied, "Lick my balls, you aggro bitch." The final battle for Terra had begun, as thousands of demigod warriors, supported by millions more guardsmen and cultists, began tearing each other a new asshole. Sanguinius was going Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Kaioken times 20, slaughtering everything in his path until Ka'Bandha himself emerged and the two rivals fought. Sanguinius was smashed from the sky and hit the ground hard, but this was a genuine Dragon Ball Z anime tier fight, so Sanguinius simply dusted himself off and took back to the air. He grabbed Ka'Bandha and snapped his spine over his knee, killing the greater demon and throwing his corpse at the Chaos Legions. Sanguinius then stood in front of the Eternity Gate, the final door before they reached the Emperor, and he became an impenetrable shield, curb stomping anything with spikes or tentacles before they could get in. Horus discovered that the Space Wolves, Dark Angels and Ultramarines were only hours away from arriving and would easily slaughter the forces of Chaos, so he lowered his Void Shields as a challenge to the Emperor.
But MajorKill, why would the Emperor risk his life to confront Horus when the other loyalists were about to arrive and win anyway?
Shut up, Timmy, you useless piece of trash. Horus had used the warp to completely cut off Terra's communications, so they had no clue that the reinforcements were about to arrive. The Emperor accepted Horus's challenge and teleported himself, Sanguinius, Rogul, as well as a detachment of Custodians and Astartes, and Alanis Pius for some reason. Horus once again used his warp spaghetti powers to make it so that the Emperor and his goon squad would all be teleported into different parts of his ship. Sanguinius, being awesome, cuts his way to Horus first. Now the Horus Heresy series is being written still and released as I make this video, and it's about to cover what actually happened aboard Horus's ship, so we don't know 100% what will it contain or if there'll be any twists or deviations from the original lore, but for now we'll just stick with the OG lore. Horus tries again to get Sanguinius to join him. I don't really know why Horus keeps doing this, he must really love rejection. Hawkboy obviously says no and the two primarchs fight. Now Sanguinius had been fighting non-stop for days and was wounded and exhausted, and Horus had been jerking off for a bit and was infused with the powers of chaos, so unfortunately Sanguinius got absolutely wrecked and killed by Horus. F in the chat, boys and girl. The psychic backlash of their Primarch dying instantly induced the Black Rage in all the Blood Angels, who then single-handedly massacred the traitor forces on Terra and drove them off. Like, imagine you're a Chaos Space Marine engaging a bolter firefight with the Blood Angels. Suddenly they stop firing and you begin to hear them scream instead. Everything goes silent, and then suddenly thousands of hyper-buff vampire berserkers emerge at the speed of sound and begin tearing through your comrades with their bare hands. Suddenly you notice your head has been removed from your shoulders and you didn't even see what got you. Black Rage OP. The Biggie wasn't super stoked about Sanguinius dying, so he hit Horus with a fat Kamehameha and destroyed his mind, body and spirit. Horus's death banished all the demons on Terra and caused the already panicking traders, as they were being sucked off by the Blood Angels, to panic more, with the result being most of them dying and the survivors getting the fuck out of there. The Blood Angels eventually chilled out, however the death of their Primarch now meant that any Blood Angel at any time could fall to the Black Rage. The Black Rage basically being that the Blood Angel in question would hallucinate that they were Sanguinius, and everyone around them appeared as either traitors that needed to die or their Blood Angel brothers. Obviously then this can be quite inconvenient for the Blood Angels, as they often lose their shit and kill their allies. Bugger. Sanguinius' broken body was taken to Baal and into a cute little tomb. To honour his sacrifice, the Imperium declared a holiday in his name, which is nice. The Blood Angels would continue to honour his memory by maintaining the noble spirit he'd instilled into all of them. But yeah, a lot of them kind of started drinking blood again. Bugger. And that does us for today, guys. The Blood Angels and Sanguinius' origins and story through the Grey Crusade and the Horus Heresy. In part 2 of this video, we'll look more into what the Blood Angels did after the Age of Primarchs had ended, as well as what their current lord, Dante, is up to. If you enjoyed this video, then consider supporting me on Patreon. Only $1 gives you access to everything, including a boatload of Warhammer hentai.
Alright.
Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next
He's about to get into his little hentai sale pitch. So, I guess that's the end of the video. Well, I think there are a lot of vampire-ish Primarchs. I mean, you have the Raven Guard, the Night Lords, and the Blood Angels. The Blood Angels drink blood. That's one thing. The Raven Guard and the Night Lords, pale skin, different eyes, scared of sunlight and light all together. Sanguinius just seems like a poster boy, you know, the angel wings and all of that kind of stuff. I think his story was hyped up more because of the way he looked more than anything else, but what do I know? I should retract that, but I'm not. I'm gonna have to look into Horus now. But before we get into Horus, I want to look at the suits, the Mark 4s and the Mark 3s. I'm probably going to be a little short video. I'm probably going to do 2 videos that day. So I also want to get into the Mechanicus, the Orcs, and the Chaos Army. I want to look into those guys as well. So I'm going to start doing videos on who the Astartes are actually fighting. Anyway, you could have been anywhere watching anything, but you were here with me, so I thank you. Till next time, I'm KHG. Peace.
You need help.